Pledge of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very, very much. You may be seated. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Randolph.
make a motion to approve tonight's agenda as printed.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderwoman Bibbs.
I second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So tonight's agenda has been approved. The next item is approval of the minutes, and I'm just going to ask for approval on all three of these since we all were here for the regular session, February 28, 2023, special regular session, March 7th, 2023, and special regular session, March 7th, 2023. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Maloney.
make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented for the regular session, February 28th, and both regular sessions on March 27th, or March
March
7th, sorry.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Rousey.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So the regular session and both special session minutes have been approved. We have no awards, presentation, organizational business. And the next item is public comment. So if you would like to step up to the mic and address the board for public comment, and we have 3 minutes limit, and state your name and address, sign in, and we will be glad to hear from you. So it is 7:02. I declare public comment open. Everybody that's going to address the board, please step up. Okay, not seeing anyone, I declare public comment closed. The next area is a public hearing for conceptual design plan for the construction of a single-family home and accessory structure. And I see Dave approach, so take it away, sir.
All right, good evening.
Yes.
This public hearing is for case PC 23-01, Swanson Residence. It's a conceptual development plan for a single-family residence and accessory structure off of Kelly Road. When this application was originally filed, there was no address for the property at the time, but since has been addressed, which is 14900 Kelly Road. Just some background on the case. Staff had met with the applicant when they had reached out to us about developing this property back just before the end of the year. I think it was late November, early December time period. And we set up a pre-application meeting to have them come in and talk about the potential to develop this property. The applicant did provide some information to staff regarding this lot as well as the 5 adjacent to it to the south, which was a deed restriction on what could be built on those lots that still remain out there. There's 6 of them. 2 have not been developed yet. One of those 2 are Mr. Swanson's, the applicant. Those deed restrictions limits development on those approximately 13-acre parcels to single-family residents that are of certain size and design type, much like the character of what is already out there in that particular area of Kelly Road. So in light of those deed restrictions, we had to kind of compare that to what we have on the books in terms of our adopted plans, including the comprehensive plan, the M150 corridor study plan, and various others that have been outlined in the staff report. After doing that, we were able to provide a staff recommendation to the Planning Commission, which they voted unanimously to approve this conceptual development plan. While the project itself doesn't necessarily closely align with much of our adopted plans, those deed restrictions do kind of narrow the development potential of those couple remaining properties out there to single-family residents. So with that in mind, the Planning Commission recommended unanimous approval to forward on to you all. So that's where we are tonight. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and our applicant is here as well to maybe provide some background about what he's wanting to do out there on the property and answer any questions you may have as well.
Thank you, sir. And I was at the Planning Commission, so I got a chance to listen to those conversations as well. So This is a public hearing. Anyone on my left? Any questions you might have? Anyone? Yes.
Just, was the city not aware of these deed restrictions before when we,
From everything that I've researched in all of our documentation back when we did the corridor study and before then, it didn't appear that there was any updates on these deed restrictions being in place at the time. I don't necessarily know why that is, but I can tell you that in light of receiving those, that has informed us on the remaining 2 lots that are developable out there and their potential. So prior to the applicant supplying that to us, there wasn't any indication that those deed restrictions were out there or existed at the time.
yeah, I think it's great that we're building houses along there to fill in that little stretch. We've got further up to the south, and there's some on the Kansas City side, so
Yep.
I think it's a good idea to go forward.
Yes, sir.
Dave, was there any public comment during the public commission
No.
meeting?
Not from anybody outside of the applicant.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes.
Hey, Dave, what I'm looking, if you scroll up one, just where I'm looking at or one more, sorry. So the Swanson property is highlighted in red.
Yes.
The other 2 properties are the ones directly south of it that are like still haven't been made, 'cause it looks like there's a house on one.
Yes, so those lots that you see south of the highlighted property, there's 6 of them in total. All 6 of those are included in those deed restrictions. The last one remaining besides what we're talking about tonight is the one immediately south.
Okay.
So
and
this
it's-
is lot 1 we're talking about tonight.
Gotcha.
Lot 2 is undeveloped and nothing proposed at this time period.
Right, but the
rest have been
Swansons.
built.
Gotcha, but the Swansons don't own that second lot immediately south.
As of today, no,
No.
but there has been some interest that is.
'Cause I see the for sale sign like
Yeah,
on
I
Kelly
think the
there, so-
applicant, and they can respond to it, has mentioned that they have interest in purchasing that lot as well in the future, but I can let them respond to that.
Gotcha. And then I had one last question on the maps that were presented. There was the renderings of the house, and then there's a rendering of a barn,
Yes.
or more like a barn dominium, type of
Yeah.
a thing here. So is it one or the other, or they're both going to get built on there?
It's for both.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Mhm.
So you would have the home and then the accessory building sets behind the house. I can't remember, and I might be able to see it in my report here. The home itself, in those deed restrictions, does limit the setback for the home from the front of the property.
Yeah, Dave, I apologize. I didn't zoom in
Yeah.
here. I thought this was one unit here. So I thought when I was looking at one of the maps here, it was the house, but I can see now that there's a barn
Yes.
directly behind the house. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you.
Any questions on the right side?
No.
The applicant is here, as usual. Would you like to say anything else other than what you've heard? Okay. Thank you very much. Anyone in the public would like to address this public hearing? This is a public hearing, so this is an opportunity for anyone in the public to address this particular item. Seeing no one.
Mayor.
Yes.
I had one last question. Dave, is he required to pave that driveway?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought so.
Yep. That was something that we had noticed whenever this project was submitted. So prior to the planning commission meeting, we had touched base with the applicant and let him know that it is a city requirement that driveways are paved.
Okay, I didn't know with 13 acres if he got put into a different category.
There is for agricultural purposes, like if you own a farm that you're doing some sort of agriculture use on, there's a certain distance you have to pave before you can have gravel. But for residential purposes, residential uses, there is a paving requirement, paving or asphalt, concrete or asphalt.
Okay, good. Any further comments?
Mayor,
Yes.
just curious, how big is the barn or the garage?
It was in the notes there.
4,000.
4,000, a little less than 4,000 in the notes. Yeah.
4,800 square
Yeah,
feet.
48. Jeez. Yeah.
As I understand, he owns a contracting company,
Mm-hmm.
and so he's probably got some equipment that he parks in there, as well as he mentioned that he might do some of his own, not necessarily farming, but things on the land for their own private use. So there's some opportunity to be able to store stuff in there.
Further comments? Hearing none, thank you very much. It is 7:10, so I declare the public hearing closed. The next item is consent items. Is there a motion for consent items E through H?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Maloney.
make a motion to approve consent items E through H as printed and presented.
Thank you very much. Any discussion?
Mayor.
Alderman Runyons.
Here again, we
Can
continue
you
to
get closer
use-
to the mic there? Yes.
Is that better?
Yes, much better.
We continue to use Olathe Ford. I think we're a Missouri city. We should be using Missouri contractors as far as auto. There's plenty of Ford dealers on our side of the state line.
And just for the record, I think the thing for Grandview is that it's the best and affordable price. So we are in the metropolitan area. If the best and affordable price is in Iowa, that is where we should be, not if it's ridiculous for us to pay more if this is in Missouri. Makes no sense whatsoever for my money or the city's money. If we cannot get a better deal in Missouri, but we get a better deal outside, that's exactly where we should be.
Mayor, if I may address the board, this question came up a week ago or a couple of weeks ago. The issue here is we did call those folks. They did not have a spot for our truck, and we needed our truck back as quickly as possible. It's our tradition. We call directly all these dealerships if we cannot do the work in-house, if they can get us in and out so that we have our truck so that we can serve our folks a lot faster. That was the incident in this case, too.
But we had 3 of them in there.
We called them.
Yeah.
And this was the only one who could get us in and out.
And I think when we were in Jeff City, the MoDOT specifically asked if we buy Missouri. And when we take stuff to Kansas, that goes over there. That income does not come to Grandview. If we go to Iowa or Arkansas, the income our dealings should be in the state of Missouri. That's what I feel.
And we certainly try.
And as long as that
we try
way,
hard.
I think we should buy all American. Anything that says Grandview should say be made in the United States.
Any other comments? Again, I still say what's best for the residents of Grandview is what we should be doing. And if those local dealerships cannot do it, it's okay. Those things do happen. So understand completely. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Roll call, please. And just those in the audience, if there is a no, we always do a roll call so we can document it accordingly. So roll call, please.
Alderwoman Bibbs.
Aye.
Alderman Randolph.
Aye.
Alderman Maloney.
Aye.
Alderman Hartman.
Mayor, I have a comment before I vote, just
Well,
real quick. Is
okay, well,
that out of order?
it is
Okay,
because we.
I'll vote no.
Yeah.
No.
Alderman Rousey.
Aye.
Alderman Runyons.
No.
Thank you very much. But we can go on and make your statement now, but we were already in the voting.
No, that's fine. No,
Okay, no problem.
That's fine.
The next area is ordinances, and is there a motion for bill number 7682?
Mayor,
Alderman Randolph.
make motion to place bill number 7682 on its first reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderwoman Bibbs.
I second the motion.
Bill number 7682, an ordinance approving a contract with My Dumpster Guy, LLC, to provide services during the city's community cleanup days.
And comments, this is one of the best things I think as a city we can do, thinking outside the box. So I really do appreciate what the city has done. What you have brought before us is fantastic. And I think we as a community will grow greatly because of this. So I think this is very, very good. And I was with those guys this morning, and they are excited as well. So, any further comment?
Mayor,
If I
Yes.
may, we did not get a second on the consent items. We had Alderman Maloney make a motion, but Alderman Runyon spoke up before we had a second. Can we get a
Oh.
second on the consent items? please?
Yes, we need a second on the consent items.
Mayor,
Alderman Randolph.
I'll second the
Okay,
consent item.
good. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yes. And again, any comments on 7682? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Randolph.
Aye.
Alderwoman Bibbs.
Aye.
Alderman Maloney.
Aye.
Alderman Hartman.
Aye.
Alderman Rousey.
Aye.
Alderman Runyons.
Aye.
Motion for second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Maloney.
move that bill number 7682 be placed on its second reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Rousey.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
Bill number 7682, an ordinance approving a contract with My Dumpster Guy LLC to provide services during the city's community cleanup days.
Any further discussion? Carrie, I know you are not in Public Works, but do we know what the dates are for the cleanup?
Yes, it's going to be the last Saturday of every month. Well, April, June, August, September, and October.
Okay.
The next to last Saturday in May, we didn't go with the last one because of Memorial Day, and we
Sure.
are taking July off.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Yeah, as soon, Doug, as we can go through the process of getting that on the website, because folks are asking, and needless to say, they're starting to collect things, I included. So getting pretty excited to finally get rid of some things. So thank you. That would help us out tremendously. Appreciate it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion for final passage.
Mayor,
Alderman Randolph.
move the bill number 7682 be placed on final passage and said bill be enacted.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderwoman Bibbs.
I second the motion.
Alderman Randolph.
Aye.
Alderwoman Bibbs.
Aye.
Alderman Runyons.
Aye.
Alderman Rousey.
Aye.
Alderman Hartman.
Aye.
Alderman Maloney.
Aye.
Ordinance number 7424.
So bill number 7682 has now been approved to be ordinance 7424. Is there a motion on bill number 7683?
Mayor,
Alderman Rousey.
I move that bill number 7683 be placed on its first reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Maloney.
I'll second.
Bill number 7683, an ordinance entering into the Greater Kansas City Regional Resource Sharing Agreement as presented to the City of Grandview, Missouri by the Mid-America Regional Council.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Rousey.
Aye.
Alderman Maloney.
Aye.
Alderman Runyons.
Aye.
Alderman Hartman.
Aye.
Alderman Randolph.
Aye.
Alderwoman Bibbs.
Aye.
Motion for second reading.
Mayor,
Alderman Randolph.
move that bill number 7683 be placed on its second reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderwoman Bibbs.
second the motion.
Bill number 7683, an ordinance entering into the Greater Kansas City Regional Resource Sharing Agreement as presented to the City of Grandview, Missouri by the Mid-America Regional Council.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion for final passage.
Mayor,
Alderwoman Bibbs.
I move that bill number 7683 be placed on its final passage and said bill be enacted.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Rousey.
I'll second the motion.
Alderwoman Bibbs.
Aye.
Alderman Rousey.
Aye.
Alderman Hartman.
Aye.
Alderman Runyons.
Aye.
Alderman Randolph.
Aye.
Alderman Maloney.
Aye.
Ordinance number 7425.
Thank you. So bill number 7683 has passed. It's now ordinance 7425. Is there a motion on bill number 7684?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Maloney.
move that bill number 7684 be placed on its first reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Rousey.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
Bill number 7684, an ordinance authorizing a contract with Barclay Asphalt Incorporated for the construction of the 2023 asphalt overlay program and authorizing payment.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Mayor,
Alderman Runyons.
I guess my first question is, when the low bidder is $516,400 below the engineer's estimate, and then it's $347 below the next lowest bidder. Does that raise any red flags? In most of the construction business I was in, if that was that low, that would probably be thrown out because somebody's not left something out or is not paying their workers.
Yes, sir. Yeah, when we received the bids and we saw the numbers, the first thing we do is contact the low bidder. You know, I mean, first of all, we check the math on it, and then, but then when we get to with them, we present that to them, make sure that they are good with their bid. They indicate that yes, they're good with that bid, and then we move on through our, I'm going to call it a vetting process. They supplied us with what subcontractors that they are going to be using. They also supplied us with references to similar type work in other cities. I checked those references. They were all glowing references indicating that they've worked with Barclay in the past and they would be anxious to work with Barclay in the future. And that was our process.
Further questions?
I got quite several.
I'm sorry?
I have several questions.
Okay, sure.
Did you check if with these other cities, see if they're paying the prevailing wage, which is required on this contract?
Those, out of the 4 references, 3 were on the Missouri side. All 3 of those contracts were greater than $75,000. So yes, they paid prevailing wage.
Well, we think. We didn't see any records. There's so many, and seems I'm the only one up here that's been in the construction industry. I know when you see low bids, like it's terrible. It's just a red flag waiting for something to happen. How are we know there's safety issues. I got concerns with safety issues. How many times are you going to want extra work orders, change orders? When you start seeing change orders, this bid's this low, seen it before, then all of a sudden they got change order, change order, change order.
Well, the only change orders I would anticipate is based on their good price to provide these services. We would certainly be considering adding some streets to his contract. That would be the only change order I anticipate.
Yeah.
Further questions?
I think we're looking for trouble because he's done a couple of jobs around. I understood his major is doing parking lots, not city streets, so we got flag men. We need all that stuff, and it's not there. And in fact, there's no prevailing wage language in the contract that I've seen.
It's a state law, and we follow state law.
There's OSHA 10 requirements. If we check to see if they have are they certified? If I go up when they get out here on the job, and I want to see their OSHA 10 credentials, are they going to have them?
It wasn't spelled out in the bidding documents that they present all that information.
It's in the contract.
Bid.
It's in the contract.
But tonight we have with us Ryan Barclay with Barclay Paving. If there was any specific questions to their work, he also has with him.
A lot of people are going to watch this. They're going to be watching Grandview. You just don't leave. You take that is too low a bid to take a chance on.
Well,
and it's quite obvious when the others are clustered pretty close, but the lowest bidder is $300,000 lower than the next bidder. It just does not work.
Well,
something's left out, and I'll just tell the board in this: something has been left on the table Well, and I've got a damn good idea. It's wages.
Prevailing wages are required on this.
They are required,
Oh,
and
well.
they don't. And only time they get caught is if someone comes in and pulls them. The cities don't. The cities don't watch that.
Yeah, each month they will submit their pay estimate, and with that pay estimate, before we pay that pay estimate, they're also submitting certified payroll. That's not only for Barclay Construction, but all of his subcontractors.
And are they going to show? Have you got the prevailing wage chart
Yes.
to compare it?
Yes, that
I would
be-
like to see it when it comes in because I think we're in for a lot of trouble. That's all.
Thank you very much. Alderman Maloney, any questions? No. On this side, any questions?
Does all the asphalt come from the same plant, or does
They are getting their asphalt from
Idecker?
which
Mm-hmm.
used to be on the north side of 150 Highway. They've moved it to the south
Okay.
side of
Yes.
150, the
Okay.
plant that was right down here. So
So is most of that asphalt base asphalt and then finished asphalt put on top of that, or is it just finished asphalt? There's two types of asphalt, I think.
Yeah,
It's a
there-
little
there's-
coarser.
there's base asphalt and surface asphalt. The majority of the asphalt on this project is milling off 2 inches and coming up back with 2 inches of surface asphalt. There'll be some places where we do some cutout and patching, full depth. We'd be looking at base asphalt in those areas. And then that would,
But most of the time it's finished asphalt, right, to get the
the
smooth
majority of the
finish?
asphalt on the project is surface asphalt, yes.
Okay.
Further questions on this side?
No.
And just, since I was in procurement, I look for bids, and I always look for whatever's the best price for what I was seeking. And yes, I compare numbers, validate the process, validate the references, and then from there, you manage that just like you would manage anything else. So that's the right thing to do. And that's procurement 101, by the way.
Right, and the other part of our contractual requirements is that they supply with their contract a performance and 2-year maintenance bond. So they've gone to their bonding company and says, I'm going to do this work at this price, will you bond me? And they said yes, and the bond is in your packet tonight.
And I think, didn't we have the group that did the streets last time? I forget the company, Doug, that was much less than many of the others. We went with that one because A, was less, B, we validated the references, C, everything else matched, and how did they do?
We had Little Joe's Asphalt,
Yes.
which was our contractor last year. They did very well on that contract. They did bid this year's. They came in third place on that.
Yep.
One thing to point out, though, is the concrete subcontractor that Little Joe's used last year is the same concrete subcontractor that Barclay is intending to use, and that's with Heartland Concrete, and Joe with Heartland Concrete is here with us tonight as well.
Good. Perfect. Further discussion? Yes.
And going, Little Joe last year, they were close. They were pretty close to the engineer's estimate. They were below it, but they were close. Same thing this year. They're lower, but they're pretty close to the engineer's estimate, within 4 or 5%. They're not 20% lower like this Barclay is.
Well, a little background. The engineer's estimate is basically a number that I come up with. It's we use that engineer's estimate to say is generally what is the maximum amount that we would want to pay for this work. If all of the bids exceed that, then we need to relook at perhaps some of the language in our contract documents. Perhaps we weren't allowing enough time for the work or some other measure. So in this case, with 3 of the bids being below my estimate and 3 being above, that's generally what we'd like to see.
And just, I'm sorry. Go on.
But the engineer's bid is what sets the prevailing wage rate.
No.
Yes.
The engineer's estimate is my estimate of the value of the work.
I've had some conversations with some experts on that. It's the engineer sets, that's when the bid goes out, it has to be prevailing wage. If they come under it, they still got to pay prevailing wage. if it comes in, if the engineer's estimate is $78,000, because the limit is 75. If it comes in below 75, but they sent it out and everybody bid as prevailing wage, then that contractor has to pay prevailing wage on it.
This contract is well above the 75.
Well
I agree.
above,
I'm
yes.
just, let's get, I know the laws.
It is well above
I-
75, so.
And I've
yeah.
got a fair amount of experience in this work, and I'm confident in Barclay's work, and they're here tonight, they've got a signed contract, and they're ready to provide good streets to the residents of Grandview.
Appreciate it. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Mayor?
Yes.
How long do you think the contract will run? I mean, till they get the work done?
I believe we're giving them 60 days for the work.
Okay, and I'm hearing you, Joe.
I'm sorry. That was 120 days.
120 days. I'm hearing you, Joe, and I understand, I'm learning something here. But the questions I have is if they start this contract and the staff sees the red flag, says this is not up to our standard, or we want to stop, can we get out of this contract?
I don't think it's that easy.
Well-
Yes.
Will you just say the work, we're not happy with the workmanship, or some reason that we could?
We have standards and specifications. If they are not following those standards and specifications, we'll work with them to see that they follow that. If for some reason they're not able to do that, then we have ways to terminate the contract.
Okay, well, it sounds like you've done your homework on the background that they have, and they've been in business for quite a while.
They've been in business since 1997.
Yeah. Okay.
Any further?
Mayor.
Alderwoman Bibbs, and then Alderman Randolph.
Doug, that was really my question, what Alderman Hartman asked. So if we're not satisfied with the workmanship, we do have the option to go with another company at no expense to the city?
That'd be correct. And I'd like to point out that, in my career, I've probably done $500 million worth of public improvements in the vast majority of those being successful projects. And I define a successful project as all parties being successful. That's not only the city, if it's an engineer, they're successful, contractors, subcontractors, they're all successful. So, we want to start out to see that everyone is successful on this project, and that's working closely with the contractor. If there's any decisions that need to be made in the field, that those decisions are made quickly so that the contractor can keep doing the work, that type of business.
Alderman Randolph, you had something?
Yeah, so Doug, I just want to thank you as our public works expert and also the staff for putting in the time and being good stewards of our citizens' money. That's the charge, and you guys always do an excellent job. And so I'm confident you guys will hold this contractor to standards. So thank you.
And I just want to add, I think it's important for the public to realize that, once the engineering team gives that number, that's what we call in procurement not to exceed number. And if the bids come in over that number, we have a lot of discussions you have to determine what's wrong. Did we miss something? Did something need to be added, and so forth? So that's just a bar. And after that, you move forward. So that's, again, 101. Roll call, please.
Alderman Maloney?
Aye.
Alderman Rousey?
Aye.
Alderman Randolph?
Aye.
Alderman Runyon?
No.
Alderman Hartman?
Aye.
Alderwoman Bibbs?
Aye.
Motion for second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Maloney.
move that bill number 7684 be placed on its second reading.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Randolph.
I second the motion.
Thank you.
Bill number 7684, an ordinance authorizing a contract with Barclay Asphalt Incorporated for the construction of the 2023 asphalt overlay program and authorizing payment.
Thank you very much. Further discussion? Yes.
Doug, I know you got a list of all the streets that you're going to be doing. When are you going to be giving it out to the public?
We'll put it on the website. In many cases, we've been out looking at the street, measuring up sidewalk that needs to be replaced, curbs that need to be replaced. we've had some conversations with some of the residents that this work is coming up. One of the requirements that we have is that, before the contractor will provide us with a list of streets, kind of what order that they're going to be doing them. We put door hangers out to notify the residents that, one, this work has taken place. If they have a car parked out on the street, kindly move it off the street so we can do the work that we need to. So we'll be out in advance on that.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any further comments?
I just go.
Roll call? Oh, yes.
This may be not, in my career, I've made a whole lot of money off of low bids that didn't fulfill their, lots of money.
Any further comments? Roll call, please.
Alderman Maloney.
Aye.
Alderman Randolph.
Aye.
Alderwoman Bibbs.
Aye.
Alderman Hartman.
Aye.
Alderman Rousey.
Aye.
Alderman Runyon.
No.
Motion for final passage.
Mayor,
Alderman Randolph.
move that bill number 7684 be placed on final passage and said bill be enacted.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Rousey.
I'll second your motion.
Alderman Randolph.
Aye.
Alderman Rousey. Excuse me.
Aye.
Alderman Runyon.
No.
Alderman Hartman.
Aye.
Alderwoman Bibbs.
Aye.
Alderman Maloney.
Aye.
Ordinance number 7426.
So bill number 7684 has passed. It's now ordinance 7426. And we look forward to the project and all that you do for the city of Grandview. So thank you.
Thank you very
The
much.
next item we have here is if I can move my machine, is other business. So we'll start on my right, other business.
You're starting with Debbie.
No, Mayor. No other business.
Yes.
Jamal, I had a call from Greg on the shooting range. I guess they're starting to shoot again over there. He just had some concerns. Maybe you can reach out to him or something.
We'll circle back. I'll have our police department reach out.
Appreciate it.
Same person.
Yes.
Just to let the public know that our gardening is getting ready to start up. We have 6 beds left in Grandview Community Garden down by the view. And if you want a bed, you better hurry up and get it because they're going fast.
Thank you, sir. Anyone on the left side? Yes.
Along with what Alderman Hartman said, out on my deck this afternoon, I could hear the shooting too. I'm a mile away. A couple of other things. I think we need to start talking about the move, because I understand we're going to demo the whole building and start from scratch, more or less. People are going to start asking questions. The aldermen should be informed of where we're going to move, who we're going to put this place. And we need to have a work session or something to start talking about.
So it's very timely. I'm talking to 3 different groups to be able to secure space. As you all know, our town does not have a lot of large-size office space. The moment I have a good agreement, verbal or otherwise, I will be discussing that with you guys. But at this moment, there are 3, maybe 4 sites that we're looking at, but we really don't want to have a public conversations because there will be negotiations on the rent too.
All right. And then the other discussion I think we need to have is about the license office. There's a bill that went sailing through the House,
Yes.
155. They made only one change, and that was say shall instead of may.
Mhm.
And contrary, the deputy director of Department of Revenue knew this when we talked to him, but he didn't bring it up. He knew that was there, and that's going to cut into our business. Right now, you can file online and get your license. There's just so many opportunities along with, he talked about the kiosks. That was the revenue idea, not always It was come out of revenue. It came out of there about 4 years ago, and they keep pushing it. Those are the kiosks they set up all around the state. And they want to eliminate the license offices. So I don't know if we should spend hundred thousands of dollars next door, and then it's not needed. I think that's a discussion the aldermen need to have and talk about it.
Mayor, happy to address
Yes,
Alderman Runyon's. In Jeff City, Alderman Runyon's, you were around the table with the deputy director and the also the government liaison. We had these concerns, and we asked them about the renewal of the license bureaus. And as a matter of fact, today I shot them an email saying that, how fast can we renew our license bureau's contract? So we're going to get a response back from them. However, state does what state does. They have an overarching authority over us. The moment they want to take this office away from us and do everything online, that's their prerogative. One other thing I wanted to mention to you guys, if we can figure out a way, which I think we have an in with the congressman's office, we don't want to just do driving licenses and license plates and tags. Why not do passports? Why not do fishing licenses? So if we're looking at the future, if we're going to spend any dollars to explore these areas, there's a lot more potential on that end too. Because when you're in the passport business, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, doesn't matter, right? You can go after it. With the licenses, we're stuck with the Missouri. So there are many ways to look at this. Regardless of what we do with the next door building, our goal is to get that license secured or renewed, the contract renewed. And if that happens, great.
I was told that when I was in Jeff City.
Yeah.
There was no question that it would be renewed.
Yeah, we heard that.
No, every year, every 4 years, Mayor. These are verbal things, but there are people bidding against us.
Nothing in writing.
Yeah, I want to see that in writing
Exactly.
before we do
It was-
anything to it.
It was nothing in writing, but they did say that it would be.
Or this mic
Yeah.
came from somebody else.
Yeah.
Hey, Alderman Runyons, I may add that just this week, the state has started pushing those online renewals out to the satellite offices. So we sat in on a conference call last week, and we're now getting online transactions that the state is not able to do, and then those are being sent to the satellite offices. So we are able to get some of that business.
And last but not least, Alderman Runyons, you were in that meeting too. They clearly told us that the software they purchased did not work and the kiosks did not work.
Which is not surprising.
The software that they have at the time, the Department of Revenue is getting, I think it's $500,000 new software. So it will be able to speak to the kiosks.
I would be appalled if they can get that software for $500,000.
It's new software for Department of Revenue.
We'll see what the future holds.
Okay.
But Jamal?
Yep.
Yes.
That, what Joel was talking about, now that money that we're going to spend over there won't be spent until we get this renovation done, will it?
So there are several options there
Okay.
because I still need to be able to move people out to be able to do the renovation. Either we're going to find them a space or we're going to use existing buildings that we own. So we're discussing right now with the architects to see what the best solution is. But fact of the matter is, verbally, they told us that this is a license, this is a contract for you guys to lose. But again, there is no guarantees at state business. I'm not throwing them under the bus, but until we see the signature that this is renewed for another 4 years, we will not know. With that said, if you remember our initial conversations about the next door, we never intended to purchase that building to keep it for another 20 years. That is for future use. This is a temporary solution for the next 5 to 7 years for our DMV. So eventually that building is going to be something else.
But I guess I missed you or didn't answer my question. We're not going to start on that building until we finish this renovation, right? Here at the City Hall. Or is that part of it?
It is part of it.
It's part of it?
It is part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is part of it. Like
So it's part of that $8 or $9 million bid?
That is correct.
Okay.
They're just looking at different phasing options right now.
Okay, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
knew we had talked about this building.
Sorry, I misunderstood
Yeah,
your
I
question. Yeah, it is part of it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Good. Anybody? Alderman Randolph, anything?
No, sir.
Well, a couple of quick things. We had the State of the City yesterday. Needless to say, Debbie did an awesome job yesterday evening,
Thank you.
and as though she had this memorized, but she did well. Thank you to staff for coming to the State of the City. We really do appreciate it. And I've saw a couple of the pictures that were posted. I can tell you this, that the 5 mayors that were there were very, very pleased and excited for what's going on. And I can't wait for this renovation to be done so we can have our Little Blue Valley Sewer District meetings here, and even all the mayors in Jackson County here in Grandview. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity that we have before us, so that's good. Those of you that out in the audience, anyone interested in attending the Citizens Academy, that starts on Thursday here at City Hall at 6 o'clock. So we encourage our Grandview businesses and citizens to participate, and board members, as you know, other people that would be beneficial or for them to come in and learn about the city. The Citizens Academy starting at 6 o'clock on Thursday, and I sent probably 100 email messages out to community members just letting them know as well. So, and I copied you, Jamal, and Valerie on those messages.
Mayor, I'm
So,
aware. That was
yes.
5 a.m. in the morning.
Well,
Thank you very
I
much.
was taking care of that, making sure folks are aware of what's available to them, so that's good. On Friday, the VFW is having their corned beef and cabbage dinner, and their corned beef and cabbage dinner is pretty awesome. It's from 11 to 5 on Friday, so if you're available and you want to come and enjoy, it's available to us as well. So once again, staff, thank you for what you guys did on for the State of the City. Valerie, again, hit it out the park just like we expected her to. And staff, you guys showed up and were accounted for, and we appreciate it. So thank you. Anything you have for us?
Last thing I have, Mayor, is this morning we spent quite a bit of time with Senator Razor, who visited Grandview, and he wanted to visit Raptor to see how they are operating, and he was very impressed with the whole technology, the new patent that they got. At the Senate level, if we're talking about the landfill, the concerns and what have you, we need advocates. And this was our attempt to talk to him, not convince him, giving him information, because at the end of the day, his vote is his vote. But I think we impressed him.
Good. Thank you very much. The time is 7:48. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Mayor,
Alderwoman Bibbs.
I motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Alderman Rousey.
I'll second your motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? All above? Any approve?
Aye.
All above? Hey. Any against? Nope. Hey, we are officially adjourned at 7:48.
Yeah, really?
Yes. Carrie, thank you very much. We appreciate it.